312-664-6649 to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub. They'll fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest here today. Let me put it down here. I'm trying to work all this. We're using Mevo for the first time, so this is awesome. Quite an amazing piece of technology. Attorney Larry Smith. Larry, say hello.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
We are doing great, and I'm sure our YouTube.
Hold on. I can't. Deborah, can you say something?
Say hello. Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's not in. God. It's like one thing or another with this. We'll get it down.
It's not on.
No, it's not on. It's one thing or another. It's one thing or another. It's what I swear to God. This is it's.
That's the way things work, Jim.
No, it's not. Yeah, you hear that? Turn it down.
Oh, did you pick the right? Maybe you have to pick the right mic underneath here.
Maybe you pick the right mic.
Hit this. The microphone. Oh, iPad.
Oh, that's why. Oh, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Yo, how does this work? This is insanity.
Are you guys just trying to do
much better.
like
Say
what you
Deborah.
normally do?
Yeah, she's talking now. Yeah, she's chatting now. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Yeah, we got it. Yo, we're rocking now, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching. You guys are watching history. You understand that? This is history being made. There's going to be no more technical problems.
That's a terrible picture, Jim. Make that a better picture.
What picture?
This one it's too much. You got to zoom in on it. Good. Wow, that's good. That means we didn't have it on the Facebook, but it was too slow for even us to know.
Yeah, this is great.
Hey, Larry, grab the mic on the sides there. Yep, and pull it out a little closer.
Yeah, just
That's
like
great.
that close, like this close.
Right there. How's that?
You know, I went to school for this, and they told me how to do it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. Here is the number again, 312-664-6649, or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. We hope you guys enjoy the show. Again, Attorney Larry Smith is going to be our guest today. So we are live streaming using Mevo. Can you turn off the volume?
Okay, but switch. Switch.
Okay.
Switch difference.
Show off the different views, Jim.
Yes,
I am showing off the different views. Can I do it? Thank you. Attorney Stephen Leahy, if you could please speak, and I'll give everybody a...
Okay, now get rid of the graphics on the top.
There
you go, they're gone.
They're gone.
Okay. I'm looking for my camera. I'm looking for my close-up. Mr. DeMille.
So there's your close-up.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't it?
I like that. I like that.
Isn't it grand? It's grand, isn't it grand?
Let's look at Larry.
That's right. Here's Attorney Larry Smith. This is nice, too. This really makes it a really nice feature, you know? I don't know why it does the double.
What are you waiting for?
It's delayed, okay?
I understand that.
No, you don't understand that because you're being wild and maniacal. And then here I am. There you go. This is pretty cool. So anyway, we're going to have a great show anyway, ladies and gentlemen.
Now I'll put you on.
I had it. Thank you.
I didn't see you.
Let's
I was
start the
scream.
show.
Ah! Yes.
Let's start.
Yeah, maybe you should zoom in a little bit better. I'm just asking. I'm just saying. You know, when you get someone's face, get his face.
I gotcha.
Okay, let's just do the show.
Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, on AM 560, The Answer. Tune in every week at 5 for an informative discussion about IRS obligations, credit card debt, mortgage default, collection activity, and how to resolve these legal issues using tax resolution, debt settlement, mortgage loan modification, foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. Your host is Stephen Leahy, and the principal at Open Tax Resolutions and the law office of Stephen Leahy, PC. Stephen is the author of Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. IRS and debt issues are serious, but there is help. There are resolutions. So get ready and take notes during the IRS Radio Hour. And now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hello, Chicago taxpayers. We are coming to you from Studio C at AM 560 The Answer. This is the IRS Radio Hour.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The show's sponsored by the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Opum Tax Resolutions.
God bless you, Opum Tax Resolution.
Now, Opum helps people solve IRS problems. We help people with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, and payroll tax issues. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any questions or these problems, or you know someone who does, then you should give us a call at 312-664-6649. Again, it's 312-664-6649. Or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. I am your host. I am attorney Stephen Leahy. I want to introduce our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner.
Hey guys, great to see you.
Woohoo, Deborah. Deborah's part of our
Group.
Yes, she is part of the group too. But part of our experiment, which is we'll talk about later in the show. And I also want to introduce my nephew, my co-host, my realtor, my very good friend, Jim Leahy.
I didn't get coaching. You need to make an announcement that I didn't get coaching. I don't cheat. I didn't get coaching. How can you say that?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IRS Radio Hour. Deborah Schreiner, best in the business, hands down. Ladies and gentlemen, hands down. We want to thank you so much for tuning in this Sunday evening. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649. And visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest with us today, and I really wanted to do the introducing here because this is going to be the fun part because we're operating, as you all know, we're doing live streaming as well so that people are able to watch our videos and have content. Well, our live streaming on Friday, we're using a whole new system, and attorney Larry Smith is here with us today. Attorney Larry Smith, would you like to have a couple of words for the folks out there?
Hey, everybody, how you doing? I'm Larry Smith from the law firm of Smith Marco. Offices in Chicago and Tampa.
Now Larry is here. As I say, I help people with debt, and in a sense, you're connected to that. So
Absolutely.
Tell us, what do you do?
So we have a consumer rights practice, and I'd say 75% of what we do works with people with credit report problems, things that, whether it be a debt issue, whether they owe the debt or not, there might be something incorrectly reported about it in their credit report. So we deal a lot with that, a lot of merged files, a lot of identity theft. If you're an identity theft victim, that's going to affect your credit report, and ultimately we do that. And we also do some work with debtors, with people who have collectors harassing them, hounding them for money, and there's a law that protects people from that, so we help people with that.
And we're going to talk a lot about that in this show. And Larry's going to tell us about some of his exploits, answer some of our questions, and we're going to have the Donald Trump segment later in the show. But in the meantime, let's do our regular segment.
The News Roundup.
Review and comment on the news.
And there's a lot going on this week with Hurricane. What's his name? Florence?
Is it Florence?
Hurricane Florence and the Machine.
Well, we want to.
I heard Florence Henderson was wild.
We hope that everybody out there is okay in North Carolina. You know, again, it's a lot of rain coming down.
It is a lot of rain.
See how much
But here's some rain coming down on us. Did you hear that Bill Daley has announced that he's going to announce on Monday that he's going to be running for
That's
for
our,
mayor? Did you hear
that's
that?
our answers.
Yeah. I predicted this some weeks ago that this was going to happen. They can't let that mayor's office go to somebody. They got to control it.
Right.
So I was thinking, well, who would be the guy that they would push it to? And I thought Bill Daley. He's got to be the guy. Now, one thing that Bill Daley has that I really like about him is he went to John Marshall Law School.
Yeah.
So if he was the Commerce Secretary, he was the Chief of Staff. And he went to John Marshall, as Larry and I both went to John Marshall. My son will make fun of me, but that's the way it goes. So.
Right.
Just like any parent.
Is he just jump into being the front runner?
I was wondering that. Is he a shoe-in if he elects to get in? And again, I've seen good Snead reported today that he's going to announce on Monday that he's going to be. So who's going to be? Who else was going to be in? Vallis. They can't have Paul Vallis in. Right, that whole cabal who's been in charge all these years can't just turn around and give it to somebody else.
They're waiting to see if Terry Preckwinkle throws her hat in the ring, and she's been running Cook County, for a while.
Yeah, but it's that Coke, that pop tax thing. I think will kill her.
But they rolled it back. I mean, they repealed it. They tried.
In spite of her.
Right.
She didn't want to roll it back. So again, if she's willing to do that, I think. And then they talk about Chuy Garcia getting back in because he's gonna run for Congress. He's gonna get elected, and then he will, and then he can just announce and run for mayor too. And then, of course, he's more of a communist than a Democrat.
But that's what's in these days.
I was gonna say my own.
That's
opinion,
what's in these days.
But it's not really my opinion. Did you see the picture of the girl from New York, whatever.
Cortez with the iron workers.
No, in the $3,500 suit that she had.
Yeah, $3,500. That's like the hypocrisy.
She's a person of the people.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Why shouldn't she have nice clothes?
Well, I agree with
Why
that.
shouldn't she? I mean, that's part of the campaign.
That's like my friend Jim Carrey who's saying, "Socialists, don't be afraid to say
it.
Just say it. Socialists,
I know.
we're socialists." I noticed that you live in a nice big house.
I've never had to wait for health care. Well, yeah, you're Jim Carrey.
Well,
you're a movie star.
He's also from Canada, I learned.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He goes, I never had to wait for anything. I never saw any of that. I never knew anybody. It's like, Jim Carrey, you are rich upon rich. Okay?
Right.
So it's easy to be a socialist when you get to be at the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they all push it, because they run the show.
Well, it's good.
You're just a jester in the court. That's what these movie actors don't. You guys are just jesters, okay? That's why it's like, hey, it swings to be the jester in the king's court. Everybody else is the serfs.
So of course, this is going to be all the news now with the hurricane, and that it's. I don't know if you saw this, but it's Trump's fault that there's a hurricane now. A lot of things you could blame Trump on a lot of things, but whether he's the cause of this hurricane, I don't think that's really. But anyway, that's the big news, and we're going to talk, and you're going to hear a lot about that. What else is going on, Jim? What you'd like to talk about? How about you, Larry? You got a story you'd like to talk about?
Anything you want to talk about?
Are we talking news stories?
Yeah,
are we talking?
you want.
I mean,
bring up whatever you
I
want.
brought up before we started the show. I'm very interested in this trial that we have downtown.
Oh. Very good.
Yeah,
yes.
so I understand that the officer chose to go with the jury instead of the judge.
Yeah.
And so a jury's going to decide his fate, and they have one impaneled.
My own opinion is I think they're in the wrong venue. I don't think he can get a good. That's my own opinion. I know they tried to move it. I know that they're still trying to move the venue. Probably makes sense. I think that you're probably in a better. What's your take on a jury or?
It's a tough one. I understand they have a very good judge for this case, but if you're a defense lawyer, I think you need a jury, right? You need 12. You need to try to get one of 12 people. That's all you need in this kind of case. You just need one of those 12 to just hang it, just to fold your arms and say no. And once you swayed the judge, you've swayed the judge. It's over.
Yeah.
Right. And so
and the judge probably already figured it. I know they're not supposed to prejudge, but they have
they're human.
Yeah. He kind of knows what's going on, and as a legal expert, he's kind of got his own take on it already.
He's also had all the preliminary motions, so he's had enough of right. So it's not a good move. I think you have to go with the jury.
I agree.
Well, anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today. A lot of law. Ladies and gentlemen, attorney Larry Smith is going to be joining us today. Larry, you got a phone number that you want to give out?
Sure, I have a toll-free number, 888-822-1777.
One more time.
888-822-1777.
And we're going to have a great blog report coming up of what's going on in your office, and then we're going to be doing a little Trump segment, Mr. Know-It-All. We have a great show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen.
The greatest.
So stay tuned. Remember, OPM Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649, and visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub. They'll fight the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, you're a dangerous person with some money in your pocket. Call them. Yeah, that's right. Call them today. We have a great show lined up for you today, so stay tuned and listen to our sponsors on this great station on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, it seems to be
coming in really well. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to our live stream. Remember, the phone number we have in the top left corner is OPM Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649. Now, we're going to be doing a blog report for Attorney Larry Smith over here. He's going to be talking what's going on in the office and how he can help you guys. Remember, it's important to know that you need to think local and stay local. That's right.
I agree.
With Attorney Larry Smith and OPM Tax Resolutions. Hey, even me, Jim Leahy with that Properties, 847-271-3695. Again, that phone number?
No offense, Jim. But you have a learning curve here with this.
I think my shots are okay.
I think that.
I'd like to see you do the shots. I'd like to see you do the shots.
Are you kidding?
I know that you have.
You think
you have had your pie in the sky.
You think I'm Cecil B. DeMille? Is that a crane shot, Jim? Is that a crane shot? Okay, let's do the. He's busy, so he's working. He's always working. He's a worker. I don't take calls while I'm on the radio.
You don't?
Hey,
not on the radio. Yes.
Larry, just be careful when you're talking to Steven, you're off to the side of the microphone.
Gotcha.
You want to be directly in front of it.
Stay on that mic. I gotcha.
Also, Jim.
And raise it up just a little bit. That looks good.
Go to his shot.
It's on.
Okay. When it comes on, I'll let you know.
Okay, so you're delayed, so it's going to be 10 seconds.
I know. I'm waiting so I can look at it. So I can. Okay. So here, I just want you to see your shot, so we can. So sometimes it's better to kind
of not throwing away my shot.
Sometimes it's better to put the microphone on the side.
I gotcha.
Like this. So then you can. So we can see your. You're probably the best looking one here. No offense.
No offense.
There's not a big line. Okay. I don't think it's a
this guy's arms though.
I know, but
what's that?
I don't know those cannons. Those arms.
You just made his day. Okay.
No, my day is not.
Now he's gonna go back to the. Now he can go back to the gym. I know I've been to the gym.
Hey, listen. I got the pump on. Okay.
I knew it was worthwhile. Someone would mention one day.
Yeah, that's right. I look for random guys to be like, hey, those are nice big arms, you know.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, you'll learn. Let's do the show.
Blog segment.
Blog.
Ladies and gentlemen, phone number in the top left corner. OPM Tax Resolutions.
Great.
I got like a couple of different cases that have come.
Okay, so you can talk about it. You can talk about a couple.
I got like 2 or 3. I'm going to start with one of them, and if we move to one of the others.
Okay, yeah. Time goes by so much quicker than you think.
It does. So, right. That's why I know.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with Attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back. I'm your host. I'm Attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, and our very special guest, Larry Smith. And let's go into our next segment, Deborah.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
And as you know, on this blog segment, I generally will talk about what's going on in my office and the kind of cases. But today, we're going to talk about what's going on in Larry's office and what kind of cases he is. So maybe you can recognize yourself or a friend in this, and then you know who he can help, that he can help you. You know I can help you if you have tax problems. But now you're going to find out when Larry can help you. So tell us about a good case.
So we've got, here's a situation we're seeing a lot lately, a same name kind of situation. When you have a same or similar name with somebody else, could be a family member. In one of our situations, it's a grandson and a grandfather, and it could be a complete stranger. And in one of our situations, it is. So I've got these two. One gentleman, he is an innocent young man who lives in the city, and he's looking for a job, very simple jobs, working in warehouses. Unfortunately, there's another person out there with the same name and birth date.
Oh.
Well, if you think about it, if you have a very common name, there's a chance that somebody else not only has that name, but might have been born on the same day, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's only 365 days, right? So same birth date. And the other one, not my client, is a habitual felon, drug dealer, armed, carries a gun evidently when he's not supposed to.
Doesn't have good credit.
Does not have good credit. So my client goes to look for a job, and as you might know, when you go to look for a lot of jobs, they want to run background reports on you now and do background checks. And this, people don't realize this, but we talk about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and you think about your credit reports and what's on your credit. And when you go apply for a job, yes, in most instances, they could look at your credit. But they could look at more than that. Mm-hmm. And the Fair Credit Reporting Act doesn't just limit itself to credit reports. It's all kinds of reports that touch upon your character, your reputation, your mode of living, things like that.
I did not know that.
The Fair Credit Reporting Act covers more than just credit. It covers mode of living, reputation, general characteristics. All those things.
I did not know that.
So
I have a friend asked. He's looking for his ex-wife, and she lived down in Florida. Right? We were talking about LexisNexis earlier, and he says, I can't locate her. I said, well, let me go. Blah, blah, blah. 3 minutes later, I had all this information about her.
Tons,
right? It's amazing.
Frightening how much you could find out about
yes.
somebody. Well, unfortunately, sometimes you're getting information about somebody else, and you don't realize it. So this person goes and applies for the job, and sure enough, it comes up he's a felon, and they don't give him the job. And so we go to work. We know he's not the guy, and we know that they used they didn't properly match data when they were given this guy's application. They just kind of loosely matched it. And so we went up against that background reporting company, and we pursued them in court, and we sued them. We got a very good result for the guy. Great case. Yes. Now what happens?
Because that's damaging, right? I know. I didn't get the job.
I mean, you got lost income. That's the start. Yeah. How about the humiliation of somebody looking across the table at you and thinking, oh.
Yeah, you think you're going to work here, buddy?
Yeah, here's a young African-American man who's been in prison, who's got a gun charge, who's got an assault charge. Oh, it's you. And the guy's sitting there going, I've never been arrested in my life. And they go, yeah, sure. So you got this, that internal, frustration that
terrifying.
One would feel. Right. So obviously, all that stuff is damages, and as I mentioned before, he gets attorney's fees. So he doesn't have to give me a cut of the pie. I go after them, and I get exactly what this guy deserved, and they had to pay our fees as well. 2 months later, so this is great. Evidently, the other guy got out and was on parole or whatever, and within months, does it again. Gets pinched, gets arrested for selling and with a weapon, right? And my guys back out looking for work. What happens?
Really?
And they look at it and they're like, we can't hire you. You were just arrested like a month ago. And he's like, I know. Obviously, I'm sitting here, and that guy didn't make bail. He's in jail. He's like, I'm obviously not him. I'm here in front of you. How could I can't, I'm not in jail. So same name situation. So a second time. So
Talk about a reoccurring nightmare, huh?
Well, for him, it's a reoccurring nightmare, and I hate to say this as a lawyer, but I'm going to say it. As a lawyer, it's a reoccurring gem because we're like, oh my God, we get the same exact case again. We did so well on it the first time. We're going to do so well again. It's like we've already counted this one. So,
wow.
So taking that to another situation with credit reporting. A young man went out.
Go ahead. Sure. I want to say, you said as a lawyer, it's good that it's a gem, but for him, it's good too because he's going to have a remedy, right? And so yeah, it's a nightmare that this is happening to him, but that's why there's a remedy for him.
I guess there's a balance there, right?
Because that's why you get a remedy. Because there's bad things happen to me. It's not my fault, and you should, and it's your fault, and you should make me whole.
Right? Do you remember? It's like that thing. Remember Beverly Hills Cop, the movie, the first one, with the comedian with the whiny
Eddie Murphy?
No, but there was one scene with the comedian who they went into his office. Gilbert Godfrey was in that, and there was one scene. Is there something I could put in this hand that can make that hand you go, what's that? I don't even know. I got this right here. What's in this hand? I'm not even looking. It's that kind of thing, right? It's like this terrible thing he's got here that it's so frustrating. But then he comes to the lawyers and he's got a remedy, and we take care of him. And he goes, oh, I got something over here. I guess I'm okay with that over there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's how.
Of course, that's why we have these remedies, right?
Right.
And also to encourage them not to do it again. So usually after they get hit like this, they repair their situation and try to make it not happen again. But I guess they don't try that hard.
Thank goodness, because if they did and they really fixed it, then that would take a whole cachet of cases away from them.
That's the arrogance of these larger outfits. They just would rather cause this trouble and pay rather than than try to avoid the trouble.
There's a cost benefit analysis they have to go through too. I mean, you're looking at. It's very difficult to do that kind of matching. I mean, we do understand to a certain extent that when somebody gets arrested, they're not handing over their Social Security number to the cop,
Not willingly.
So it's right. Well, they're just not getting it. In fact, the police officer's probably not getting the guy's real name half the time, right? So, if you've ever seen a rap sheet on somebody, the name kind of goes through like this metamorphosis, to a completely different name. So they do that, and ultimately they find out who they are when they fingerprint them, and if they're repeat, they fingerprint them. Okay, we know who you are, but they don't have their social. Yeah. And sometimes they have the date of birth. So somebody applying for a job who turns over his social, date of birth, addresses, all these things, they don't match addresses. They probably should, but they don't match socials and they can't. So there is a certain difficulty that they're going to face, and they have to go through an entire upheaval of these computer systems to do it. They have to sit and wonder, how much is that going to cost us versus how much are we paying these lawyers and these people all the time every time we get in trouble.
Well, again, if they figure out that it's better not to do anything, then they're just going to pay when damage happens. And that's what, of course, this when they like when McDonald's got hit with the burn victim and everybody throws that out because McDonald's kind of did this cost-benefit analysis, said, "Oh, we're going to burn so many people, it's going to cost us. So we're going to continue burning people."
Right,
and then that's why they got hit with this big award because now it's not cost-effective.
Right now, you deal with debt collection agencies a lot in your line of work, and I do too. We deal with them all the time. And I remember once I was just kind of reading up on one of them to see how much money they, we're suing them so much. I mean, could they really withstand all this litigation from all these lawyers all over the country? We saw their prospectus. In their SEC filings, and they were like, we're paying about 30-40 grand a year in settlements of these cases. It's no big deal. We don't care.
They don't care. That's right.
It's nothing. It's like we don't care.
But that's a very. I'm glad we talked about this because I was not aware of the scope of that law. And the Fair Debt Collection, Credit Reporting,
Fair Credit Reporting.
And
now, now we're running out of time. Do you happen to have a phone number people can contact you at?
Try me at 888-822-1777. That's 888-822-1777.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you got a lot of information out of that. If you have any other questions, remember, call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because after the commercial break, we're going to be coming back at you with more IRS Radio Hour, okay? On AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, the timing on it works perfectly.
Wow, that was tough because right at the end,
Yeah.
I accidentally
Could have kept going, right? It's one of those things.
that segment doesn't go long enough. So I was right at the end there when I was reading like open tax resolution there for you. I opened up the thing and it went to another application. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to do.
I saw that in your.
No, actually, what happened too though is you know how on the live feed it said open tax. Sometimes it doesn't read it and it'll leave it up there. So on the feed it doesn't show it, but on the Mevo will just keep it there. That's why I had it up.
I'm very happy with the Ethernet connection that it's working very well, and I think that's what a great. I'm glad that they did that for you because it would really screw up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying. Remember, remember, open tax resolution is there for you.
I don't know what your politics are, and I really don't care. But
do you guys want to rip on Donald Trump?
No, we don't rip on Donald Trump.
You don't rip on him?
He's a trumpeteer.
I am not a trumpeteer. I always say I'm not a trumpeteer.
He is. This guy loves
He
Donald
always
Trump.
says I am, but I'm not. My kids say that I am too. I am right of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm kind of right of until the Hun.
Yeah.
So that's where I am.
Okay.
I don't care where you are. If you want to trounce them, that's fine with me. I don't care. I'm not a trumpeteer.
Multiple
Yeah, it's good
viewpoints
to have
are
a
welcome.
balanced perspective, you know? Then
Multiple
it's like
viewpoints
a,
are welcome at all times.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I just
We
wanted
are the
to
kind of guys that, and
I could deal with this stuff.
I'm in the same.
Okay, so I have a story. Oh, I'm not going to tell the story because we're live, so I'm not going to tell the story. But let's put it this way: I've lost long-time friends for since he's been elected, and it really had nothing to do with Trump either. But anything now, politics is so like toxic. Man, if you take the other side of someone now, all of a sudden you can't talk anymore. You're not only don't I agree with you, but you're evil, and I can't even associate myself with you.
Right, we
and
never had that before.
I know.
Right? I mean, when even when the second Bush was elected, and there was a lot of Democrats that were, oh my God, he's so not smart.
He stole
blah,
it.
blah,
He
blah.
stole the election.
He stole it. He's not smart. He's here
I
with
know.
his dad. Blah blah blah.
It's just. It's like whoa.
But even then, the country. We
Moved
didn't.
on.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like this. It wasn't so polarizing. It wasn't so. Oh, I can't even talk to you. I hate you. And people dropping friends.
That's
I mean,
yeah,
that has
exactly.
never happened. Except maybe like the first 2 or 3 elections of this entire country. When Adams, Jefferson,
that's a
when
great
those,
point. Yeah,
when those
yeah.
guys were elected, I'm willing
Raymond
to bet.
Burr. Oh, not Raymond Burr.
I'm willing to bet. Aaron Burr.
Raymond Burr. I just had the music. Okay, so
Raymond
I'm willing to bet
fought
that those
Godzilla.
elections were like that.
they were.
I'm willing to bet
And that's
those
the pamphlets.
elections were
Those
like that.
pamphlets had the nastiness.
My bike likes
Then
Ike.
it kind of everybody kind of go, oh, hey, listen, we're gonna go on as a country. It's gonna go on, and we got used to being a country.
Here's the thing: we're going to go on as a country, and it's going to go on. Now, some people believe that we're going to have a civil war. I don't think so because we can't.
You're already in it now.
You can't really divide like the
You're
North
already
and the
in it
South
now.
had. There was a natural boundary there. I guess we can isolate the cities because it's really about.
But that's
it's
where
really
it's
about
going
cities
down is
against
the
everybody
cities.
else.
In every major city, the crime rate is astronomical.
Well,
I mean,
in parts of the city.
you're already seeing now that these are.
But
we're going to
that's-
do the next segment, and I'm going to get some
But
water.
in the
before we
Civil
do that.
War, it
Can I get you
wasn't-
some water?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'll have some water, please. In the Civil
I
War,
didn't
you
really
didn't
ask
see.
you.
Oh, I run the camera. And I like, not well. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, coming from Tech Master Guru over there.
I think it's a physical impossibility for us to have a civil war at this point. I think it really
It's
is.
never an impossibility.
There's
They said it after World War One. No, they said after World War One. There's never going to be another war. I said no. That's done. We're done.
But between so like you're talking a civil war
I
between its own country because
listen. I understand.
we've got our union, the union is way too strong.
Understood.
What is the other whatever it's going to be? Whatever we can't call the South, the whatever they are.
Well, there
wherever
would be
they're
a
gonna
multitude of states that pull away and co-join.
and they won't
you
even
know?
be at budding heads.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't even be bordered together.
Right.
That's why That's why the one that's coming would be nasty and scary. And we've had this conversation. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like a kook, but again, I could just.
Too late. We already are. We all are kooks. I mean, it's an interesting time of our country too. I mean, the history books. If 50, 60 years from now, the history books are going to just be lit up, and it's going to.
I think that I think it'll call. like you just mentioned about the beginning and how it kind of settled in. We'll settle in. It'll be fine. I'm surprised that it hasn't settled in yet. 2 years in, and we're still at this point where we're still the 25th Amendment. We got to get rid of this guy. Accept it. He's here. Move on. My own opinion. Everybody wants to. Instead of working so hard to get rid of the guy, let's try to make things better. Okay, but we're not doing that, and that's kind of my rub on this whole thing.
Maybe try to make him better. I mean, and not so.
I talk about the economy a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, all set for this one?
Yes. She moves us along. Let's move this along.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
We have returned. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Jim Leahy, Deborah Schreiner, Larry Smith, and we're going to go on to our next segment.
We're talking about Trump. Trump!
Take a look at my Twitter account.
President Trump!
Sort of amazing.
We're talking about Trump. Trump!
America first.
President Trump!
Together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
God bless America. Now, we have our guest here, Larry Smith, and I'm afraid that maybe Larry's going to lose some friends because he's on our show. And we're talking about
go imagine. Isn't that amazing where we're at in our country, though, how polarized it really is, how the polarizing of just, you're going to lose friends just by talking with somebody.
I have lost friends, and, I think...
It's because you're not a nice guy, though.
Well, how did I get
I'm joking. Attorney Stephen Leahy, I'm joking.
You hurt me.
You're my friend.
I say it at the beginning of the show that you're my very good friend. Of course, you're my nephew, so I have to say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about this beforehand, and you were mentioning about Larry. You were talking about at the beginning and how rancorous or what.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, this election was so polarizing, right? Like people walked out of this election, and if you voted for the other guy, you hated each other, right? And people, they disowned friends and stopped talking to people. Family members stopped talking to people. And has it ever been like this? We've had this really decisive elections. We've had, big ones where there was a lot of differing views, and the country really came out. But when it was over,
Gore Bush, right? Gore win the popular vote.
Right.
Florida, the other side believes was stolen, and so it caused this rancor.
We accepted Bush as president, and people didn't start hating each other. And I've never seen it like this. I think it must have been like this maybe the first few elections that our country ever had, right?
Yeah.
Like look, Adams, Jefferson election, Monroe.
Yeah, except for George Washington. Everybody loved George Washington.
Well, yeah, it was like he was
Abraham Lincoln.
He was more than anything appointed.
Everybody hated Lincoln. Everybody hated Lincoln.
I know everybody hated Lincoln, but it was polarizing. What are you talking about? It was polarizing like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, you're very right.
Okay. Yeah, that was another one. It said Adams, Jefferson.
But here's the thing.
Not to George Washington.
No.
Here's the thing. The thing. It was in that obviously half the country, decided they were going to try to be a different country. That was huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never seen anything like that ever since we had a country in the first place. So, yes, but at the end of it, and there was a civil war. But what happened? What happened when Lincoln died? You know what happened? The country came so together. Like even
history's
the people
written
that
by
were
the victors.
Even the people that were against
there
it.
are still people in the South
Well, that's
that
true.
if you bring up William
Sure.
Tecumseh Sherman,
I know.
they're going to
Jim, I know
drag you
people on the
outside
south
and
side of
beat
Chicago
you.
still
Sure.
football Cardinal fans.
I understand. There are
Chicago
but I get
Cardinal
it.
fans. Weren't the Daily Chicago Cardinals?
Yeah, they were.
probably
Yeah, they were.
I think they were.
I'm sure they were south side. That's
I remember.
Did they play at Old Comiskey Park like the Bears?
Yes,
like the
they
Bears played at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I never listen. I'm not that old. I was not alive for the Chicago Cardinals. Thank goodness.
But I did have friends with parents. I'm still a Cardinal fan. Now we have all these Packer fans. Now that's with the raker that you're talking about. We get that sometimes with the.
What can you do
after this game last
What can
Sunday?
you do?
That just it kind of makes everybody go crazy.
I know that I have been.
I haven't
haven't
lost any
been.
friends. I have a lot of friends.
I almost did, and I need to make it.
Will we start having will the Mitch Trubisky debate become as polarizing as the big Trump debates? I mean, will we start will Chicago split itself up?
You got to give the kid a chance.
You
got to give the kid a chance.
I'm with you. I'm 100%
I know you are.
behind the
We
guy.
got to lay off the guy. He's our only hope. Listen, I get it. Listen, I get it. We got to just stop for a second, all right? Let him play.
When you don't have a
Could you
choice.
imagine being I know that if I was on the other side of the aisle, if I was a Green Bay Packers fan, I'd be sitting there right now going, turn on the Chicago radio. Listen, I would love it.
Right.
I have never been so upset after a loss.
After the loss, I haven't been able to listen to the radio.
Oh, my God.
Now, I know that's how some people feel about
I've
Trump.
sat in a room, a dark room.
Trump was elected. They don't want to watch the news. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want to. They don't want to read the paper.
They have this Trump derangement syndrome, and it's so weird, man. It's just like
the weirdest part about it is that it's the left and the right, because he's got people on the right that hate his guts too.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a huge Donald Trump guy. Dude, he's done good things for this country. I mean, I like how he's changed the economy around. I like how he's changed. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's great about open tax resolutions. We can sit here and have differing opinions.
I hope
and
Green Bay
guess
Packer
what?
fans and Donald Trump fans and not Donald Trump. I hope everybody.
Everybody.
I don't care.
Everybody. Larry, you got a phone number?
Yes, I do. It's 888-822-1777. That's 888-822-1777.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, open tax resolutions there for you as well. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Stick around for the second half instead of like the Bears. You guys stick around and we'll pull a W out here on AM 560. The Answer.
You guys must be loving this.
Once we get the technology.
This is where you're wrong, because like I got to this is work, honey. I gotta tell my wife.
Sure it is, but it's fun work.
It's fun
I mean,
work.
there's certain
I know.
work.
But that's my wife. Well, you don't work on Friday. What do you mean I don't work? This, as I tell her, this is sometimes the most important work I do.
I say that about golf.
This is what brings me in clients.
I say that about golf.
Does it bring in clients?
No, no. I mean,
no. I used to be
actually. I take it back. It has.
It has, yeah.
It has because of the TCPA law stuff. People are getting those robocalls and faxes, and all my friends are coming to me with their cell phones and their faxes and going here, and I'm kind of going through them and picking them out. So it is helping with that.
I was a huge golfer. His dad and I were huge golfers. We golfed. I was the guy out there on New Year's Day. If it was above 25, I was out there golfing.
Yeah.
When I got married, I have season tickets at Wrigley for 20 some years now. I had to pick.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go to all the baseball games and golf all the time. Because then I'm never home. Then I can't stay married.
What'd you choose?
I have my season tickets still.
I think that
it's easier.
You could still play golf. So I have to give up the game altogether. You have to give up a club.
No, I understand, but I haven't really golfed that much since. And I have. It's actually been some time since I've golfed.
I don't know how I can do that. I don't know how. I'm the guy that I love. I'm not that great. I'm like an 11, but I love.
Well, I think 11 is great.
I love.
Maybe not in your crowd. In my crowd, 11 was always great.
It's fine. I
it's
love.
fine.
And I could be out there giving it up and
You're married, aren't you?
No. Technically, divorce is almost through.
Okay.
No.
Is that right?
I've been separated for some while.
Okay,
I don't
know if golf had anything to do with that.
No. my game getting so much better and my handicap going down 5 points had a lot to do with the breakup.
After the breakup.
Well, I think two things. I think it's both the breakup and my kids growing up.
Well, that's
once
gives
my
you
kids
more
became
time.
teenagers and were
more
able to
time.
drive their cars and be away and do their own thing, and
Yeah.
they don't really want me around so much. So now,
So
being
I-
single and free.
So I went to the game with my kids a lot. I don't, they don't really go to the games to me because they're working, they're doing
Yeah.
this, they're doing so. It was always a Sunday game. Now I got a Sunday game coming up, and I'm going with Joey. We always went to Sunday games, and this year I've eaten a couple of Sunday games because nobody wants to go to the game.
I was
I can't.
was
I
really
gotta
close
work.
to going
I know,
myself.
almost
actually.
everybody works.
We just made a back out last second. I was going to go to Sunday's game, but I just backed out.
I went Monday's game, and it was good. It was such a good.
Yeah.
It's a tournament that
No, I
I'm in.
get
That,
it.
like I've got to get this.
I
one
went to
game
Monday,
in,
Tuesday,
so.
Wednesday golf. I did a triple play. So.
Yeah, so I played yesterday, today, and
See, now again, when I golfed, I was out there all the time. I was the guy out there all
See,
the time.
imagine
Loved,
if you
loved,
were
loved it.
if you were a
Loved
single
golf.
attorney
Never-
as successful as you are, you'd be golfing. You'd be going to Cubs games.
Yeah,
Life would be great.
Again, I can't do both and stay married. That's just a
No,
fact.
there's no way.
It's just a fact. Just a fact.
Or you can go to Bears games.
I went to 3 games this week, and then usually Jim and I will stop for a beer after this. And my wife said, "You're not gonna stop a beer." I said, "That's my kids are. That's what he does every Friday."
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be there with
change.
you today.
I still got to do it. I still do.
You still got to do it.
Okay, so you got a question?
Yeah.
Well, give me the question.
The question is, I get this all the time. When a statute of limitations runs, why is this thing on my Why is this thing still on my credit report?
Okay.
The statute of limitations on this debt has run. They can't sue me anymore. Why are they still reporting it on my credit report?
Okay. I await the question. I mean the answer.
Okay.
Wait, so should I answer? Do you want to ask that question, or do you think he should answer the question, or should I ask the question?
Well,
I could do it if you want.
yeah, you know what? Well, you ask. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to ask a question. We're going to go right into.
Let him ask the question.
I'll lead you into this, being like, so anyway, there's a couple of. I know that you have a frequently asked question in your office, and that's with statute of limitations, right? Because you mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll do that, and then you get specific, and then answer.
So we're still going to do the intro, though.
So all you guys get a little bit of an insight here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your co-host. I didn't push me at all.
Man, the Ethernet connection makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yep.
Skiddy.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hey, we have returned. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Larry Smith, Jim Leahy, and Deborah Schreiner. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. And we didn't do the tax man thing today, did we? Because we're not going to talk taxes.
That's right.
That's why.
Because we have attorney
But let's still,
Larry Smith.
Let's still
with
do
us.
the Mr. Know-It-All segment.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
Today, Mr. Know-It-All is our special guest, Larry Smith. Isn't that right, Jim?
That's right. And Larry, I know that you've had a couple of questions. We were talking back and forth. And before the show, you mentioned statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember that's like one of your frequently asked questions. Am I correct?
I get a lot of so statute of limitations. People are always asking me about, hey, the statute of limitations is run on this particular debt. I'm being, yet it's still on my credit reports. In other words, they're complaining that the statute of limitations running, meaning so much time has gone on, the creditor is not even allowed to go after me in court.
Mm-hmm.
But this is still on my credit reports.
Yeah,
that's
why
not,
is
that's
that? Yeah.
not legal. So it's a big confusion. So first, let's say what a statute of limitations is, because some people think they know what it is and they don't. A lot of people think that a statute of limitations is just a time that runs out on a debt. And it's not true. A statute of limitations really is, there's a statute of limitations in every aspect of law. Most. Listen, even Bill Cosby's off the hook on certain things because of the statute of limitations. So in Illinois, let's talk about a credit card. In contract law under Illinois, if there's an unwritten contract and it's breached, the person who is the victim has 5 years to sue you in court and take you to court and file a lawsuit. Just file a lawsuit, get to the clerk's office, get a stamp, done. You got 5 years to do that. If it's a written contract, you have 10. So with 5 years, with the credit cards, what I get a lot of people saying is, hey, the 5 years are up. They can't sue me, and they didn't. So, But they're still reporting the debt on my credit report. That's not right. If they can't sue me, how could they report that I owe it? The answer to that is that your credit report is not governed by a statute of limitations. Your credit report is governed solely by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It is a preemptive statute. The states cannot create a statute that says anything more about credit reporting. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act says a credit card that's charged to profit and loss has 7 years of reporting, and that's the answer. So it doesn't matter if your state that you live in, some states have a 3-year statute of limitations, some have 5, some have 10. If there's a written contract, there's a 10-year statute of limitations, and people get confused because they're like, hey, it's not been on my credit report, but somebody's still suing me. How could they do that?
This is big because credit cards used to be interpreted as a written contract, and it went to 5 years, and that's big.
Supreme Court made a big decision on that about, 7 years ago?
Was it that long ago?
Something like that.
Something like that. And then it's also like people get this with bankruptcies also. They say, well, it's going to go away. You're just not obligated to pay it. The debt's still there.
Right.
You still had this debt. It was still there. You still owed it. You still didn't pay it.
Right.
And that's really what they're reporting.
They still want their money. They might not be able to go after you in court, but hey, they've got 2 more years to report it and put a little pressure on you. And then when that goes away, then they've got very little weaponry to get this debt.
Sometimes you might want to clear up that debt, even though they can't sue you. And the only way you're going to do that is pay them. Right. Or come up with some sort of an agreement with them for them to remove it.
You know who burns people the most on that are utilities. Utilities. So I get this call a lot. People will call me up and say, "Hey, they will not shut on my electricity because of a 15-year-old bill. They can't sue me for it. The statute of limitations is run. They can't report it on my credit, but they won't turn on my gas. They won't turn on my electricity." I'm like, well, that's what they got.
You owe money.
That's what they got. So I guess they can't sue you. They can't report you. They can't really do anything to make you pay it. But I guess they also don't have to serve you either.
That's good.
And that's something.
And one thing about computers is that now they could track this stuff. Because they used to kind of fall off in the record keeping. But now your name, Bob. Hey, this guy still owes. It was 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. They still have it.
Yeah. Now the computers store things forever, right?
Yeah.
So if you incur a debt,
when you pull someone's credit report, as I do when I'm doing bankruptcies, for instance, you find out almost everybody's got a utility on it. It'll come up. It'll almost always come up.
Most utilities don't report to the credit. This is what I've found. Most utilities won't report the debt to the credit bureau generally. Only when you're late. Only when you start going delinquent. When you start going delinquent, then they will report you as delinquent. Otherwise, they typically don't report.
I did not know that. That's valuable
Try to
information.
find a North Shore Gas or a Commonwealth Edison account on a credit report that is reported in good standing. I'd love to see it. I'd love them to do it.
And of course, most of the time, people are in good standing, but that was reported at one time. So if you're late once, they report it, and then it's going to show up on your credit report. It's not going to show that you owe them anything, but it's going to pop up. It always pops up.
7 years. You miss one payment, that's there for 7 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I hope that answers your question out there, ladies and gentlemen.
You, Mr. Know-It-All.
And that's right, Attorney Larry Smith. Thank you so much for answering that question.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Of course, that makes sense. So it's like, hey, we'll only tell you when you mess up, though.
Well, it's
not been the 30 years you've been paying on time.
Well, man, we talk about the CSED date a lot, which is the collection statute expiration date for.
We'll talk about
IRS
that the next
tax.
segment.
And same thing. They try to expand it.
Open Tax Resolution is there for you, ladies and gentlemen. 312-664-6649. And visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. Phone number, sir?
888-822-1777. That's 888-822-1777. 1777.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because after the commercial break, more IRS Radio Hour is on the way. We're going to wrap it up IRS Radio Hour style on AM 560. The Answer. Sometimes because it's like you're running so fast and you're like, okay, I'm
Right.
Well, that was another good segment.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was great. I didn't know. Of course, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
Well,
Which one?
the report the
Statute of limitations.
no the reporting the
The reporting of utilities?
yeah.
Yeah, they don't. It's they should. It'd be nice if they did, because there's some people that would get some help by the fact.
Yeah,
that
it would.
One of the things that they do pay on time, like right. I always pay my electricity. Always, like it might not make the car payment. I might miss the mortgage, but I can make sure the electricity stays on, right?
Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is valuable information. That's why you should give Attorney Stephen Leahy an open tax resolution a call, 312-664-6649. If you didn't get Attorney Larry Smith's phone number, Attorney Stephen Leahy can give it to you. That's what's great about this, ladies and gentlemen. We have a connection. We have a professional network.
That's correct.
That's right, and it'll be
We're
it'll
gonna
be
talk
in
about
full
that
swing.
again.
We will talk about that again in
Ready
later shows.
for the wrap-up segment?
We're going to wrap it up, IRS Radio Hour style, talk about how upset I've been all week.
my 3 days at Wrigley Field.
Yeah,
We
because
just put this picture up on the internet and just kind of say this is what's really been bothering us. Besides all week, now all day. This picture's been bothering
You know what
me.
gets me? It should have never got to that. It should have never got to
somebody
that.
told me though that it was a split second because he was right on him, not even.
That's what he says. He
Yeah,
said he was right
not-
there.
he was
said
right there.
He doesn't show you. He was right there. And hey,
Listen,
we
he
ended up
said
getting
he
3
screwed
points.
up, but for God's sakes, let the guy play. It's
not even
me and you, we just talked about it. We got to put faith in the guy. I mean,
Got it.
like, hey, all I'm asking you is to be better than Kyle Orton.
Yeah.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with Attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am not your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, but your co-host, and could be your future realtor, Jim Leahy. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's not too late to start thinking about selling for 2019. Spring is just around the corner, right? Joking. We're coming up the fall. But listen, it's not too early to start thinking about your spring and summer 2019 plans. And if you're thinking about moving within the next year, give me a call. Jim Leahy with At Properties today, and we can see how much your home is worth. The At Properties CMA is the best in the business, and I'll show you why. Very interactive. It's one-of-the-kind tool that only At Properties provides. So, again, give me, Jim Leahy, with At Properties, a call, 847-271-3695. And, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined today by Attorney Larry Smith. I'm trying to work everything here. We're doing everything. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We really had a
pleasure. Attorney Stephen Leahy's also here. I am, and Deborah Schreiner.
I know. I'm trying to work the cameras because we're doing everything.
Make sure I get my own plug.
You do have your own plug. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you, and the phone number is those for people live streaming.
I'm going to try to keep. We're walking Jim off the edge because of the Sunday game. Although
I was on the edge.
I was on the edge myself.
I was on the edge. I have to make a.
Here's what happened to me at halftime. Actually, after halftime, when we were up 20-0, I said, I've seen the end of this movie before.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
Me too. Me too. I said I've seen this song and dance before.
I know what's going to happen.
I know how this works.
No, I was all drunk on the Kool-Aid at that point. I was like, oh, look what we got. This is like they're doing everything right, both sides of the ball. We're killing them. We're gonna win this game 30-something to 7. Oh, this is gonna be. I
all you needed was one more touchdown.
I agree.
All you needed was just one more touchdown, and you put it really too far out of reach, even for him.
I know.
Even for them.
I agree. But what really gets me about that game is that we helped his legend.
We did.
Instead of, we just would have got, we're terrible, we lost, he's just another quarterback. But instead, we helped him become
I wish we could
feed that legend.
I wish we had the feed.
We've unfortunately, the Bears have done that with a couple of their last two quarterbacks.
He's the only one we got.
The Bears helped create Brett Favre.
I agree with that.
And we helped create Aaron Rodgers,
I agree
unfortunately. With that. And when he just stepped on the field for the second half and he started, that's when I started to get a little worried. That's when I went,
so I said, I've
he's
seen his
playing. He's gonna do something.
Yeah.
He sure did.
And he couldn't do this. He couldn't, but he still beat up on the Bears. And how did they miss that tackle in the middle of the field that they scores that touchdown? How, at the end of the game, how does that happen?
I know.
It
makes sense because it makes sense. So because it's like, hey, let him score. We'll get the ball.
No, it
march
didn't.
But that was the thought process.
I don't think they did that on purpose.
No.
It was listen. They're chasing the guy, and eventually you're like, listen. That defense was gassed. All the offense had to do was score one or two more times.
Yeah.
Done. Walk off the field. You're
all
good.
we had to do was score more points than them. And we
that's what it comes down to.
Fuller just had to catch that interception. It was right in his numbers. All he did was catch that. Game's over.
They've been handed that game several times. It's kind of like the IRS,
at 20 to nothing. You handed. The game is handed to you. In the third quarter. Okay, but again, I knew.
Listen, a lot of people think when they're facing the IRS, it's like the third quarter. I'm up 20-0. I got this in the bag. There's nothing wrong. They call me in. I didn't do anything wrong. Well, guess what? You need representation, and Open Tax Resolution there for you. 312-664-6649. Visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. Attorney Larry Smith, thank you so much for coming in. Phone number?
888-822-1777. That's 888-822-1777.
And I'm Jim Leahy with Ad Properties, 847-271-3695. Those are three phone numbers that you can use to get you back on track for financial success. Ladies and gentlemen, same bad time, same bad channel on AM 560. The Answer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We had a great time. We used the Mevo for the first time, so we're really live streaming, working on the camera angles. What an awesome camera angle! How everything's working.
How'd you like it, Jim?
It's just great. I loved it. What about you, Attorney Stephen Leahy?
Well, I'm one of those that go home and I'll watch the feed again, so I'll have a better idea about how it works.
He's the kind of guy that when the Bears play on Sunday, he doesn't watch the first half. He records it and then comes and watches it.
You go back home and watch the game film. Your own game film.
I do.
Right?
But here's I do that one because I go to church, Jim. Okay, and when I'm at church, the game's on, so I have to record it.
I could see the churches help the Chicago Bears out a lot. Have you ever put a prayer in for them?
Well, Virginia,
you got to be so
a huge, big Catholic benefactor. I'm a Catholic, so I see her. But that's the only. I can't wait till Virginia McCaskey gives up the team. Okay, I think we won't do well.
I had this discussion with friends the other day.
We won't do well as long as
everybody
McCaskey's
keeps saying that, and they won't.
They're not going to give it up.
Listen,
Rocky,
they've spent the money. They've been close. There's been GMs that have come in and put us in a position. They just don't win, and it has nothing to do with her and her ownership of the team. I wish people.
Well, they said that
it is
about
ownership.
about the Cubs.
It's full ownership.
Here's the other
thing.
Listen, the Cubs were
They spent the money.
6. The Cubs were 5 outs away.
I know. I was there.
They were there. You were there. They were there. It had nothing to do with team ownership.
Yeah.
It's the player. They put the players in place. The bottom line is this: the McCaskey family's never going to lose the Bears.
That's their bread and butter.
Well,
that's their bread and butter.
The families.
Listen,
what defines the family.
So I'm a coach for the Young Warriors and Young Giants organization, and I can't find kids that come out and play.
Warriors, we call
Giant
them.
Warriors.
Highland Park Deerfield?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I can't find
I
kids that come out and play.
They're combining
because nobody has enough kids. You would think that the Chicago Bears, an NFL organization.
Did you grow up in Highland?
I grew up in Highland Park.
Okay, so we went to Highland Park.
I went to Highland Park High School.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to.
Back in my day, this is aging myself again. Back in my day, Deerfield High School had the cream of the crop football program.
They really did.
They were always fighting for a state championship, and they'd come to Highland Park and they would rock us.
They were awesome.
It's not even funny. We used to hate playing. They would mow us down.
I've heard this.
Yeah, and nowadays they barely have a program. Highland Park outshines them in every game. It kills them, and their program's shutting down. They're combining.
Because shame on the Chicago Bears for doing that. That's your backyard. I'm going to let this organization. I know everybody works on their own thing differently, but with youth football, like that's who's going to keep going. You would think that the NFL team, it's your practice right down the street from them. And I have an organization. Well, anyway, I can go on forever. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, Open Tax Resolution is here for you. 312-664-6649. Thank you so much. We will catch you next week. And boy, did we have a lot of fun. Attorney Larry Smith, thank you so much for one more time. Phone number
888-822-1777. It's Smith Marco at 888-822-1777.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next